Hello YouTube vintage camera collectors. Today's just kind of a little bit amusing about cameras. I've got two cameras that I bought the same week. There's this classic Pentax Spotmatic with the f1.4 Takumar lens. And then this gently used Nikon D3500 digital SLR. Which is kind of like, it's kind of nice too. Gotcha. I like them both for different reasons, and this is an evolution of what this is. Couple things. I'm just displaying some photos here that I took with another Spotmatic back in the summer. It's color negative film. And I had them actually processed at a lab, but then I scanned them in. My black and white film that I shoot, I process in the kitchen, just a standard Patterson tank, basic developer vinegar fixer. Let them dry, and then I scan them in. I've given up on using an enlarger. It just seems to take up too much room, too much water. The chemicals go bad. I have a great photo printer, so I kind of call this hybrid photography. The photo printer, it gets close to what a good enlarger like a Durst can do on Ilford Multigrade or Kodak RC paper. You can get really close, and I kind of like the convenience of it. But if I had a place with a little more room and I could have a dedicated darkroom again, I would find an enlarger, and I would go that way. But let's talk about the cameras. This Pentax SLR, my dad, the first SLR that I ever shot with was my dad's. He had this exact same camera, not this camera, but one just like it. He bought it in '73, and I loved it. There was something about it. He went from using a Kodak Instamatic 104 to this, and for a guy who says he's not very technical, not good at getting things, he just started using it. Every picture he took was good. He figured it out very quickly. And I used to love standing and hearing that sound, that beautiful shutter. And here we are. There's no reason you can't have a cell phone camera. There's no reason you can't have a digital SLR, a point and shoot like it's doing my video right now, or get into this vintage stuff. I know some guys that use box cameras and wooden cameras. You know, it's a very personal thing. It depends where you want to go with it. These here, I just finished redoing this lens. That's such a heavy lens. It had a lot of, little grit and a bit of fungus in it, and having a thorium element, which I talked about on my Instagram, it's kind of some people say this is the best lens ever made. I think they're right. The best 50mm lens, because that thorium element, it's a 7-element lens. Some people say, no, this Nikon is a better lens, or this whatever. There is a lot of personal thing to it, and I find you can almost come to the point of blows talking about cameras over the years. This one doesn't need much, so I cleaned the lens. I took all the elements apart, some very tiny screws in there. There's lots of tutorials. I don't need to do one. Clean the mirror. I'm going to have to go and buy a light meter battery for it. I don't have one here. This one is really nice and clean. I picked it up at a Freelton flea market, which seemed to be really good for cameras. Very familiar camera, and being a 50-year-old camera, it has its quirks. There's not many, but they do have their quirks. Once in a while the shutter might jam for whatever reason because you didn't wind it quite all the way. You got to take a little more time composing your photograph. You got to turn on the light meter, focus. I like that manual experience. In fact, between the two cameras, it comes down to this. I was much more excited finding this one than this one. This one I used for my media work. I wanted a digital SLR that had a good video camera. I bought it secondhand off Facebook Marketplace from somebody that hadn't used it much, had needed it for work, and then retired. And I had a D3200 actually. A few years ago I gave it to a family member who needed it. I like the Nikons, and you don't have to go high end to get one that really works well. And the lens is nice on this. It's a much lighter build. This weighs about what the Takumar lens weighs. It's a little easier to sling around. You've got to learn all the the program steps, or you can use it in full auto. I like having this around. It's reliable. It takes great pictures and great HD videos. But if I'm going out somewhere, out into nature or to an event, I'd rather shoot with this. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my generation, makes the fact that I learned on it. First of all, you don't get much attention with that. I was going around Aberfoyle Flea Market with one of these back in the summer, and there's some other people doing it too, like with 35mm cameras shooting film, and people take notice. Not that I need to be noticed, but it's kind of like, is there film in there? And I felt like saying to one guy, no, it's just empty, I'm just doing it for fun. I said, no, actually it's got Kentmere black and white in it. And it's like, oh, I used to have one of those, best camera I ever had. That is one of the things that I hear all the time. Best camera I ever had. And think about this, okay? This, I believe, will still work when it's 100 years old. It might need a few little things, a little lubrication along the way. This stuff that's computerized, no. How can I put it? I've had several digital cameras. I started shooting digital in 2005. I got a Nikon, was a Coolpix S9. It's one of those swivel cameras as a gift. And I kind of thought, yeah, it's kind of neat. I can plug it in the computer. And it took very good pictures for a 1 megapixel camera. But then it just died, mysteriously died. New battery wouldn't fix it. And then I replaced, I think it was a Coolpix 5700 was the next one. And bought it brand new. Got about 2.5 years just out of warranty, And was at my daughter's birthday party shooting at a bowling alley, and it just went dark and never came back. And then the D3100 I had, something happened with the switch on it. Those kind of things. They have a lot of this digital, and with cell phones too. You get an iPhone, it's like, ooh, special. How long do they really last? Software updates, end on them. You can't use it anymore. You can just use it for phone calls. They're two different worlds, but you can live in both. And that is what I like about 2023. Closing statement here. I see all kinds of people my age. I've got people that are like in their early 20s in a photography course that I sold some cameras to a few weeks ago. They love film. So like you can live in both worlds. It's the same with music. You can have vinyl or you can have digital downloads. There's nothing wrong about using one or the other. There's a lot of attitudes out there, but there is nothing wrong with shooting in the format that you like, keeping the old one alive if it's still viable. It's like this, okay? I wouldn't restore cameras or stereos or any of the stuff you see me doing if I couldn't use them. One of my friends, I had lunch with him on the weekend, and we were talking about cars, and he was talking about somebody that he knows that has this car, and he never drives it. He goes, another trailer queen, another car that never gets out. He goes, I drive my old cars. And it's like, yeah, I get it. You want to use it. You don't want to just restore it and put it on a shelf. Hey, but if that's your thing, go ahead. Thanks for watching and listening. Gotcha.